If you're a woman who is married and quietly struggling, this conversation's for you. You may have been told that commitment means trying harder, being more patient, more understanding, more accommodating. But many women that we work with in our Detox Your Marriage coaching work aren't failing because they aren't committed enough. They're exhausted because they've been committed in only one direction. Committed to smoothing things over, committed to keeping the peace, committed to managing his emotions, his moods, and his reactions, and of course, committed to the marriage, of course. Today, I want to talk about a different kind of commitment, one that most women were never taught, and it never occurs to them to prioritize this commitment. And before we go further, a quick pause. If this kind of conversation helps you feel more clear-headed and less alone, click the like button and subscribe. That helps you get this content on a regular basis. It also helps other women who desperately need a new frame of reference. All right, let's talk about what's really happening in your relationship. Many women in difficult marriages are deeply conscientious. They're constantly asking themselves, what could I do differently? Is there a way I could have said that more gently? How do I avoid setting him off? And like on the surface, that looks like conscientiousness and dedication and commitment. She wants to make it work. Bottom line, it looks like love. But over time, something dangerous happens. That woman begins to organize her life around appeasement. And so you soften truths, you delay your needs, you shrink your emotional reactions, and you override your own instincts. And slowly, without even realizing it, you, wait for it, you break faith with yourself. You're unfaithful to yourself. And this is not resilience. This is survival. This is nervous system survival. Here's the one idea I would love for you to sit with if this is starting to resonate. I'm going to suggest that the most important commitment in your marriage is not to the relationship. Whoa, can you believe I just said that? No, the most important commitment in your marriage is to your own well-being and integrity. I want to be clear, that doesn't mean being cruel. It doesn't mean being reckless. And it doesn't mean selfishness. And it doesn't automatically mean leaving. Here's what it means. It means stop betraying yourself in the name of harmony. Because a marriage that requires chronic self-abandonment is not a stable structure. It's a castle built on sand, and there's going to be slow erosion of the self. Many women were taught that being good means being flexible, accommodating, forgiving, and understanding. But emotional health requires something different. Prioritizing self-faithfulness, the ability to notice that, hey, this doesn't feel safe, or hey, this doesn't feel fair, or wait, this is costing me too much, and to actually honor that information. Here's the painful truth, but it's a super important truth. Appeasement, this going along to get along, going with the flow, which is walking on eggshells, that appeasement doesn't actually stabilize marriages. It often makes them worse. Why? Because when one partner over-adapts, the other partner never has to. And so appeasement teaches the nervous system that your needs are optional. Your discomfort will be managed quietly, and you will bend. You'll be the one that bends and gives in. And over time, this is almost inevitable. Resentment builds, not because you're an angry person by nature, but because your system is protesting saying something is wrong with this. As one of my favorite authors titled his book, Your Body Keeps the Score. Self-faithfulness I want to be clear, it's not confrontation for its own sake. It's not just becoming a contentious person. It's quieter than that. It's actually, in my opinion, more godly. It looks like not over-explaining, not justifying reasonable needs and expectations, not rushing to fix his discomfort, right? His emotional state is not your project, and not abandoning yourself to keep things calm. It means regulating your nervous system first, so your choices come from clarity, not fear. And when you live this way, one of two things is going to happen. Either the relationship begins to reorganize around reality, or you gain the clarity and strength to make decisions from self-respect rather than from desperation. And either of those outcomes is healthier than chronic self-betrayal. Okay, I know what you're thinking. But isn't that being selfish? Let me say this really clearly. Caring for your well-being is not selfish. It's actually your responsibility. It's your responsibility. It's your responsibility if you're working from a Christian worldview. It's your responsibility to steward your body, mind, and spirit. You're responsible for it. It's also stabilizing. A woman who is grounded, clear, and self-trusting is not dangerous to a marriage. She's dangerous to dysfunction. And if a relationship can only survive with one person becoming smaller and smaller, quieter and quieter, or less alive, that's not love asking for sacrifice. That's a dysfunctional system asking for silence. Again, like this video because I think you'll like it. Click subscribe so that way you'll be one of the first to hear when there's new content on this channel. And I want you to know, if you've ever felt, I'm doing everything I can and I still feel depleted, exhausted at the end of my rope, I want you to know that's not a communication problem. It's a self-faithfulness problem. It's a self-betrayal problem. Reinforced over the long haul. That's why, among other things that can be helpful for you, I wrote the Trauma Recovery Blueprint to help men and women, but since I'm talking mostly to women here, to help people understand how nervous system healing, self-trust, and clarity actually develop. You'll find a link below if you'd like to check it out. There's also coming out a companion workbook to make the work even more practical. Also, we have a Detox Your Marriage free community, a moderated private community that you can join. The link is down below for that also. And why don't you share in the comments, what's one way you've learned to, unfortunately, to override yourself to keep the peace? What's one way that you keep the peace against your better wisdom, your better judgment? Your honesty that you share in the comments may help another woman begin to tell herself the truth. And that would be a gift to another woman, maybe on the other side of the world, that you've never met and you might never meet. Above all else, take care of yourself. Love yourself more than ever. As Damaris says, you're allowed to be faithful to you.